it. In progress. All right, I am then going to minimize this, wide. Screen share. Okay, so this, you guys on the Zoom can see my screen, right? The LinkedIn?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then obviously you guys in the classroom can see the LinkedIn. So what I'm going to start off by doing, and then we have a couple, Jessica and Christian are going to, their two alums, they'll tell about themselves when we get to them. And they're going to give some feedback from their kind of current work position. So good hands-on experience, right? I'm telling you kind of what you should do to build your LinkedIn, and they're going to give some more anecdotal kind of information about how to effectively use it kind of in relevance to what they've been doing in their world. Does that make sense? Okay, so who has a LinkedIn right now? Okay, you kind of raise your hand like, I have it.
I have it.
Okay, and then do you have a LinkedIn?
No.
Not at all? Okay, cool. So the people who raise your hand like, hi, do you feel like your LinkedIn is like of an A+ quality? No? Okay. Yeah, you do, but kind of iffy. Okay. So let's start from the top. Zoom people, I will be using my finger so you can follow along to what I'm talking about. So first things first is the background picture is something that you can edit to yourself. They suggest using something professional. So if you're looking to move to Pittsburgh, maybe it's the Pittsburgh skyline. It's kind of hard to do because if you're not in a space where you're, right, if you're in oil and gas, you can use one of the oil derrick or the rigs, right? That's self-explanatory. For me, it's kind of like, what would I use? Maybe I use a picture of like a resume template since I do a lot of resumes. But since I'm a proud Merida College person, mine is Merida College, that's where I work. I'm not looking to leave my position, so it represents me and who I am. They do have templates in there. So like if you click edit, you can click change photo, and they have these. So those aren't bad to use, but again, using this as an opportunity to personalize it to yourself is very helpful. If you leave it blank, it just kind of looks like you don't really care about what you want to do. Give me a second. I want to keep an eye on the chat to make sure that no one's like coming in late. So let me just double check that. Where do I see it? Okay. Participants. Anyone waiting to come in? Nope. Okay. So then the next thing is going to be your headshot. Raise your hand if you have a headshot. Okay, raise your hand if you don't have a headshot. Okay, so the Career Center can help you take a headshot. You can make an appointment on Handshake. I will also give the advice to any alums out there who don't, and I will do this with the students who come in. You literally can go use an iPhone, swipe to portrait mode, find good lighting. Girls, we know, right? Like outdoor lighting is great. If you have one of those fancy circle lights, then that's good too. But I will take you outside, put some trees behind you, make sure the lighting is not like blinding you, and we'll square you up and take a photo for a headshot. So that's a really good, easy way to get a headshot that's not quote unquote professionally done. Or just some sort of professional photo, right? Not you and your friends, I've seen students who did like a cap and gown photo, that works too. So a professional photo. And then your name. And then one of the most important lines is going to be this one underneath of your name. This is an opportunity to get a lot of those keywords, industry keywords. So tell me what your majors are again. What was your major? Marketing.
Undecided.
Undecided. Finance. Management, and then petroleum engineer, right? So you want to try and get some of those keywords. So finance, you want to have at least finance in there. Like this little bar in between is actually on your keyboard. It's right above your enter button. So you hit shift bar, and then you can kind of like separate different things that you want to stand out. So marketing specialist, a marketing student. You can say a marketing student at Merida College if you want. But again, this is the searchable tool. So if you said it's marketing and entrepreneurship, right? So maybe you would say entrepreneurship marketing student. You can have both of those in there. Or you can say, you can be more tagliney and like aspiring people to do more. You can make it kind of what you want it to be. I've seen people who have a bunch of long ones, and here in a couple minutes, I'll pull up my news feed and we can look at what other people are saying about themselves. Just so you can get an idea of like what you could put there, because you really can make it diverse because you want to find some catchy taglines, if that makes sense. The next section, this is going to be just in your view. The next section is going to be the about section. The first 3 to 4 lines are going to show up and then it's going to expand. This section is where you can put in a lot of stuff. You can actually do twice as much as I have in there. I say that this is a good opportunity to tell the story about you. So again, those first 3 to 4 lines, you really want to try to grab their attention to get them to click see more, right? It's like if you're reading a book and you get through the first like couple chapters and you're like, I don't know if this is good. And you put it down, you could have missed all the good stuff, right? So you got to reel them in the first beginning part. I kind of reference this as an opportunity. It's kind of similar to like a cover letter, kind of that middle body. If you have some specific things that make you stand out, talk about them in that section. So really, what is your brand? What is your identity? What do you want to be known for? What do you specialize in? All of that stuff can go in the about section. And again, it's the biggest section, so you really can kind of, and again, hierarchy, right? The things you want to be known the most at the top, because they might miss the bottom. But if they make it to the bottom, they just learn more information about you. Does that make sense? Okay, does anyone have any questions about what I've talked about so far? Okay, so then your activity is going to show up. So when someone is looking at you, your activity of what you've done or what you're doing will show up, so they'll see that. Just helpful to know that, like, if a recruiter is looking at you or if you're networking with someone and they go to your LinkedIn and they're trying to figure out more about you, following companies, businesses, people who do things that are relevant. And again, I'll show you some of this. It's a good place. So like mine will tend to show, excuse me, a lot of, like opportunities for students and jobs. I share a lot of like my first one, right? Like that's a job opportunity for a student in marketing. So I just reshare those. So that's what my activity feed normally is. The next section is going to be your experience. Very similar to your resume. You can honestly just copy in your resume details. You just put in the company, the title, what you did. Something that's new that I've noticed in the last like year, I could be wrong, they didn't used to do it, is they add in the skill section. So now you can link direct skills to the jobs you've done. So if you had a lot of communicating that you had to do, come on in, have a seat. Yeah, just check yourself in and have a seat, whatever. So if you had a lot of communicating in that specific job, maybe you link that to that skill to the job. It's just a way of telling more information about yourself and per job.
Hey,
I can't do it because I was done after I inputted my job, so I don't have a lot of skills in there.
Hey, Ricky, can I interrupt really quickly just about the LinkedIn skills? So for, I guess, just everyone on the call, skills obviously is becoming a much bigger and hotter topic. This is something that we want to eventually do a session on. But places like Microsoft actually are rolling out kind of their own talent development products, and they're actually integrating with LinkedIn skills. So this is something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, that this whole world of skills is becoming more and more interconnected. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, especially if you're leveraging LinkedIn, because a lot of organizations are allowing you to kind of like import your LinkedIn accounts, scrape the skills, create your employee profiles, create kind of career profiles to help career development. So all of this is very kind of intertwined, even though we're kind of talking about this more for a job search perspective right now. This is, and people are going to talk about this more, but this is something that you need to actively maintain because of some of this information like skills and pulling it over into kind of your professional profiles at whichever company you land at.
And I'll show you a really easy way to add in skills here in a second, because there's a whole section on skills. So like you can have 50 of them. Let me keep scrolling because it'll be the next thing. So the next section is going to be your education. So obviously your college, if you have credits from other schools, if you took like CCP credits or whatever, you can put those in that section too if you'd like. Do note, let me click the wrong button. If you are adding a section, it's weird because there's no section for like your minors. So if you type something in the activities and societies section, it will literally say activities and societies. So it will look weird if you say activities and societies, minor in blank, right? So put your minor in the description and then put your activities, societies, and clubs in that other section, even though that's not what I did because I did mine before they changed it. That way it doesn't look weird. Does that make sense? Because you don't want it to say activities and societies, minor in. That doesn't make sense. So that's the only note for that section. And then we have the skill section. So you can now have 50 skills. That's more than they had before. So my suggestion to building out your skills, because 50 skills is a lot, and you want to use the ones that are pre-populated. So don't try and like create a new one. You want to use the ones that are already tagged in LinkedIn because they do use this for what I'm going to show you. So if you go to the job section and you type in, let's just do marketing. That's not the right line. Well, that works. If you go to, like, this is just a job posting. So if you're looking for things, job posts that you see, that you want, if you scroll to the bottom, 5 skills match. So 5 skills match my profile, 5 skills are missing. So you can go here and start adding in the skills that are relevant to the career field you're looking for. That's a good way to start building skills. If you're like, I have no idea, like I'm good at communication, and you just like kind of start seeing what they're suggesting, this is a good way to look at it to your industry. Does that make sense? Okay. And again, you can have 50 of them. Let's go back. So fill out the 50, even though mine's at 47. I was just playing with them recently because I didn't used to have 50. I don't remember how many I could have before. So then the next section is going to be your recommendations, those given and received. Given is a great, like, it's kind of like a Yelp review. So like if you think of people who have made a giant impact in your life or someone that you've worked really well with, leave them a recommendation. Don't make it transactional though. They do have kind of that red flag thought, right? Like if I've given a recommendation for Doug and then I turn around and received one from him, then it's like, hey, if you give me one, I give you one, right? The validity of that kind of loses it. And I don't even think you can do it anymore. Let me look. You used to be able to, and see, like now some of these jobs are connected to, if someone goes into the skills and I actually connect them to my job, they can see where I've done those jobs before or what skills I've had in those specific jobs. But they also used to let you, and I don't know, maybe someone online can correct me. I've never looked it up. You used to be able to endorse people, which I personally liked, and LinkedIn does not count that in the algorithm anymore. But right, like if you see 11 people say that I'm endorsed in teamwork, aren't you like, she's good at teamwork? But unfortunately, my understanding is that LinkedIn doesn't really take it into the algorithm, which I'll tell you about next. So then at the bottom is just going to show you the companies, like the top voices I follow, the companies, the groups, any schools, and newsletters. So, and then causes is like OG style, like that's from a long time ago. I don't think you really need to have anything in there. But you need to look at your URL, right? So if you look at mine up here, it's literally just linkedin.com, IN Ricky Bailey. So that way you can put it on your resume very easily. If you make a new one, it's going to have numbers at the end of it. You can pretty much delete those numbers out unless your name is super common. Like I did have, her name was Jessica something, I can't remember. I think Jessica Brown, which is kind of common. So she unfortunately had to do Jessica Brown 1-1. So she made it as simple as she possibly could, but try to simplify that URL so people can find you easier. So in regards to using your LinkedIn to be kind of like, just making sure that it's a good quality. So there's 2 kind of sides to LinkedIn, in my opinion. I use mine as I have it. It's established. If I'm looking for a job, and people want to double check that everything is the same, right? So like my resume is very, very similar to what I have posted here. My title is, it's all up to date. It's kind of just like a secondhand place for people to make sure that you are telling the truth of who you are. The other thing I didn't mention, and I used to have stuff on here, you can add in media. So like if you have done, you know, if you work for the television, what is it? What's the TV?
WP.
Well, no, the one on campus.
Oh.
The radio and the TV. Yeah. Something like that. I forget the numbers, letters. My bad. Like if you did stuff for them, if you did a presentation and it was videotaped, if you're graphic design, you can actually put media into your jobs, which again, tell more of a story that your resume can't do, right? So this is a place where you can provide more information than what a simple resume can provide. So you can use it for the sake that I do, where I use it to keep up on best practices. So if you're looking to build your quotation network, mine has been really like a lot of students, because a lot of students add me now, whereas before I followed a lot of I do follow a lot of HR people, resume writing. So, because that's the field I'm in. So it's giving me kind of like best practices, current information, keeping me up to date on what industries are doing. I use it for that reason. So if you look through here, let's see if we can find some people and what they're like, what I'm gonna call it like taglines, like, oh, hey, there's us. Like this person, I help professionals get hired fast for free. So right, his is gonna be really long. Helping others grow. Let's see what else. Software developer, simple. So again, like this person's long, they're suggested, activator, strategic, individualizer, belief, woo, strategist. I'm not going to click on more. So, right, senior director of campus regional engagement at Ball State. So these are just people I've met in life. And like someone, like this person probably got pushed into the ultimate LinkedIn cheat sheet. Cool. We could talk about that. So you can find, again, if I just type into the search bar, marketing, whatever your field is, at the top, you are going to see a bar, jobs, people, services, posts, companies, groups. So you can click on these and just see, okay, what companies are there? Okay, what are the people who are, what I want to call it, I call them influencers. I don't know the whole math behind the LinkedIn algorithm because it changes just like Facebook and Instagram, right? Like sometimes you're like, okay, this is only in my Instagram reel because it has 1 million likes on it. So the same thing kind of happens with LinkedIn. If you're wanting to get noticed, generating your own posts will get you the most points, is what I call them. You know, reposting and commenting gets you more posts, but the more reactions you get, the more popular you get, the more noticed you get, the more you get higher into searches when recruiters are looking on LinkedIn, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So, you know, I typed in marketing. I don't necessarily know the reason why these people, it could be because they're my connections. So the other thing you can notice is like this number 2 right here. This means that I'm friends with someone that they're connected to, which you can see right here, 33, 34, 35, 35 mutual connections. And one would think it would be hierarched that way, but it's not, right? Because here's someone who's 42 connections. So I don't know what Claire is doing better than Paula. I don't know. I don't have that answer, but I can tell you generating your own content, reacting to other people's stuff will help you get noticed more and more. And then I want to quickly show you guys how to kind of network. So if you go to Marietta College, this is a great way to start building your, hang on a second, I don't know where I am. So just Marietta College's, cool. So Marietta College's webpage, there's a button right here, alumni, and you can go in here and start to find alumni in marketing, and you can start to kind of build a network. If I type in marketing, and there were some filter things I'll show you in a second, I just skipped right through it, right? So where do they work? Where do they live? What do they do? What are they skilled at? What did they study? How are you connected? So this is saying, okay, I'm first connected. Third is like someone I'm connected to someone I'm connected to. So it goes down that. So again, you can get in here and see, okay, you know, are these people students? What are they doing for their titles? You can search for companies. So if you're like, I really want to work for Google, do we have any alums who are working for Google and connecting with them? Does that make sense? That's a really useful way to connect to alums. Now, the thing too is not every alum utilizes their LinkedIn. If you had talked to me 3 years ago, it probably would have taken me 2 months to get back to you because my LinkedIn goes to my maiden name email, which is like my junk email. And I don't know why I don't update it, but I honestly check it every other day here at work now because it's such a tool for me now. So sometimes you might have alums who might not respond back to you for a couple weeks, a month. It's just kind of the way that it is. Any questions about your personal LinkedIn? Wondering if I can blank, how do I find blank? How do I introduce myself through messages maybe? Like, do you guys feel confident if you found someone you wanted to connect with that you could send them an effective message? What's something you would say? What would you start off by saying? Blurt it out. What would you say to them? Yeah. Yeah. It's probably good to say how you like kind of found them, like, right, like I'm a pioneer, I'm a current student. I saw that you graduated from Marietta College. I think too, one of the opening doors is kind of asking for help, right? If you're looking for a job at the company, how can you ask them to help you, right? Like, you're not there to say, hey, can you get me a job? Hey, can you make me, like, suggest my name? But maybe they can look over your resume and give feedback based on the company culture, right? If you've worked at Google, can you tell me what you think? I need to improve on my resume specifically for Google, and maybe they know someone in hiring, something like that.
And Ricky, just to kind of jump in again, just speaking about the introduction of like, hi, I'm a Marietta College student. I was living in Denver a couple of years ago, and I reached out to someone who was class of 1984, and I needed her help with something. And I just started my email with, I'm a Marietta graduate, class of 2013. I'm reaching out because I need help with X, Y, and Z. And she answered it simply because of that. And she was an executive at a company, and, she probably gets a ton of emails, ton of messages. And the fact that, I leveraged the alumni and just said, hey, I'm a fellow pioneer, got her attention. So I would highly suggest, leveraging that, right? Connecting on something like attending Marietta College can be pretty fruitful.
All I'm going to say is if I get a message from anyone that says long blue line, you're going in front of a hiring manager immediately. I'm not going to screen you. I'm going to put you in front of a hiring manager, and you better put on for the blue. You better put on for the blue.
Yeah. Okay. I literally just put up this cheat sheet, which is interesting. It says, I know it's probably hard for everyone to see because it's small, but it says algorithm, post in morning hours between 8 and 10. I don't know why. I want to ask whoever's writing this, why? Why do you want me to post between 8 and 10? It's just so weird. Nurture your post in the first 60 minutes, right? Like, you're getting very much into what I consider the influencer area of that. So, but again, the point is that LinkedIn is very good for networking. It's really good for building a network. It's good for keeping up on best practices for job searching, staying relevant. As long as your LinkedIn is like up to date and you want to utilize it to be recruited or kind of like what I want to say headhunted, right? Someone like reaching out to, hey, we think it'd be great for this. It is a great tool to use for your future. Okay, Brittany, I'm going to pass it on to you guys.
Yeah.
To keep it going.
Cool. I'll just jump in really quickly. I know y'all have heard my voice a few times, but my name is Brittany Metcalf, class of 2013. I'm part of the Alumni Council. And so, as members of the Long Blue Line and leveraging our networks, I have brought in Jessica Is it Jessica Villa or you Villa? I should ask you this.
It's actually both. So it depends on if you want to say it in Spanish or if you want to say it in English. So okay. Either one works.
As a Texan, I will have to say Villa Cruz and Christian Sanders here as well. And so they're going to walk you guys through, what Jessica's going to walk you through kind of the economic development in Ohio. It's incredible what is going on in your state. And it's definitely something to take advantage of. And then Christian will kind of wrap it up with a recruiter's perspective of kind of taking what Ricky talked about and kind of extending that into what does he look for, right? Whether he's on LinkedIn or on resumes, what is he looking for when he's looking at candidates? And so I'll hand it over to you, Jess, take it away. And just thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Brittany. Hi, everyone. Excited to chat with you all. I have been with my current company for about 5 years. So I want to share a little bit about what Jobs Ohio is as the economic force in Ohio. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself. So I am Jessica Villa Cruz. I graduated from Marietta College in 2008, studied human resources at the time, and played softball. Really excited to share a little bit more about you and my background. I'm really excited also to have Christian here because I'm a fellow recruiter. So between the two of us, we'll have a lot to share from a perspective of a candidate, but also from a perspective of the recruiter, which sometimes I think gets missed a little bit. But before that, want to kind of go into a little bit of my background. So about 15 years with private and nonprofit companies, a couple corporate companies. I would say probably the biggest role that I have that probably means anything to this group is I ran an internship program for a large regional bank in Ohio. And that was probably one of my favorite roles. So I know a lot about recruiting interns and the students' perspective and things like that and what they're looking for. So in general, happy to help if ever you want to reach out, ask questions. I'm another resource for you. So I'm going to share my screen and just share a little bit about, oh, actually, Ricky, are you able to?
It's okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize it's disabled.
Give me a second. I'll give you right.
Thank you.
There you make a co-host. Okay, you're good now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wait, let's make sure pick the recording back up.
It's still going. Yep, you're good.
Okay.
I started it again.
Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
I'm going to enlarge it a little bit. So I have 2 slides. Really just want to talk a little bit about the economic development aspect of Ohio. With that, this is a lot of information from Jobs Ohio. So first kind of want to talk a little bit about Jobs Ohio. So Jobs Ohio is the economic development force for the state. We're actually not affiliated with the state. We used to be 11 years ago. And we actually basically moved out from under the bureaucracy of the government and created our own entity so that we could work at the speed of business for companies that are looking to come to Ohio. I think another way to say it is the companies like Intel, the companies like Honda who are expanding with their EV battery plant, companies like Sherwin-Williams who decided to stay in Cleveland to expand in their more engineering spaces and chemistry spaces, and other companies like that from all different shapes and sizes all come through Jobs Ohio. And what's really exciting is we have a lot of opportunity as this Jobs Ohio team to attract companies such as Intel, as an example, to really look at the landscape of Ohio and why we are competitive to other states. I don't know how much everybody knows that, in this class, but basically I think and it's important to know there's a lot of interest on the West Coast, a lot of interest, down south. Usually the Midwest gets passed over, but a lot of what this information is sharing with you is there is a landscape for companies to come to Ohio and actually have really good access to things needed for a business to run, like airfare, great roads and ways to get to and from, if something's coming from California, it's a pretty straight shot. So there's a lot of things that really go into a decision to bring a company in. How does that pertain to you all? I think is a really good question. And I think what I would have loved to learn if I was in your shoes in school is what the heck is Ohio doing in the sense of attracting and retaining talent? And with this information, this is another slide kind of going a little bit more into that workforce and talent side of it. But with that information, I think it's important to know that we are really focusing on specific industries in the state. So a lot of, if you read the slide before, we're really popular for manufacturing. We have a lot of manufacturing in Ohio. That's fantastic, but we want to diversify our industries. So some of the industries, in fact, I'll read them all that we focus on as a economic development pillar for the state is advanced manufacturing, aerospace and aviation, automotive, specifically focusing now on EV battery, advanced mobility, energy and chemicals, financial services, food and agriculture, healthcare, logistics and distribution, military and federal, and technology. Those are the areas that we're focusing on. So what that means is while we will always support a manufacturing company if they're wanting to grow or expand or transition or transfer to Ohio, we're going to be really focused on attracting companies in those industries, specifically like technology, advanced manufacturing, and automotive and stuff like that. So I think probably the biggest project we've worked on as a company is Intel. And I just want to kind of talk a little bit more about that because I think that will help. First of all, it kind of triggers everybody because it's new news-ish. But there is a lot that goes into something like that from a workforce and talent perspective. I actually, at my role at Jobs Ohio prior to my current one, I was basically a talent acquisition consultant. So if there was a project and there needed to be, 3,000 people that this company would need to hire, they would call me in and the team that goes along with that. And we would work with that company, whether it was the CEO, the CHRO, basically C-suite, or anybody that's related to or interested in talking about workforce or talent. And we would help build out a strategy for them to start recruiting, or to build that strategy to figure out how they wanted to recruit. What's that going to look like? Are we going to have enough people that can fill those roles? So Intel's a great example. They wanted 3,000 engineers specifically for semiconductor, which is a technology and a space that Ohio's never been in before. So we don't have the workforce for that. And one of the things that we worked through is building out courses and certifications and things like that within the colleges and universities, which we have a lot of, which is very popular. Especially liberal arts schools is very popular to the companies that are coming to Ohio. They like to know that. So we share that information. We also share the number of graduates that are likely to graduate, whether it's December or May or whenever. So all of that information is helpful to our companies to really understand what they're coming into and how they're going to get that talent. So a little more detail, we actually have semiconductor certificates and eventually degrees or relatable degrees where they kind of combine different things to get to that semiconductor education that are actually being implemented for the 2024, 2025 class years. So while Intel will probably not have a ton of work just yet on recruiting, that will probably start in 2027. They are still doing a lot right now, and we are helping them with that to build up what that looks like. So if engineering is an area of interest of yours, Intel is going to be a great option, but we've got many, many other options that are coming to the state or already expanding in the state. We've definitely have kind of a unique perspective now that we are on the map with some of these large projects that we've won. We're, people just don't know this. It's not really out there, and it's kind of hard to believe until we say it, but we're number 7 as the largest economy in the US and number 21 largest economy in the world as Ohio. So they call us the heartland of the Midwest. So it's kind of a good play on that. So I guess in other words, I say all this and share this with you all to know that if you're looking for work, we will have a lot, especially as the years go on. We're definitely in a recession, but as we see it, we're literally bringing companies in who are asking for thousands of positions to be filled because they're transporting or transitioning from one location to another completely, or they're expanding. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you all to definitely be considered for positions here in Ohio. And that's not to say that you couldn't try going to Texas or whatever. Definitely want to support companies all over, but I think if it makes sense, we'll have a lot of options for you. So want to stop there, ask if there's any questions from anybody. Anything that I could clarify? Okay. Well, I will turn it over to Christian to talk about a recruiter's perspective for you.
You want to stop sharing your screen first?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. I was sending a text to make sure the Sanders family isn't way too enthusiastic about what the opportunities in Ohio upstairs. That was a joke for all of you in the classroom. You're supposed to be laughing. We're like looking down at our phone there in the back. You don't even realize I could hire you tomorrow.
He already has a job.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
Where at?
He doesn't want it though.
Where at?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver? Doing what?
Completions.
He's a petroleum engineer with Welltec completions.
Mm,
That's a nice gig, my dude.
That's what I tried telling him.
take it and run with it.
He wants that 9 to 5 life.
9 to 5 life is cool. Just like as a professional, it's weird though. When you're in a 9 to 5 life, the ability to accelerate, the ability to be noticed by your company typically is not there. And I'll stop there and then I'll come back there here shortly. So just to introduce myself, I am Christian Sanders. I am the talent acquisition lead of campus and diversity talent acquisition at a company called Materion Corporation. Um, to explain a little bit about just kind of my role, my career journey, I started honestly my career giving tours at Marietta College, then becoming a senior interviewer, moving to be in recruitment at the University of Mount Union, then Baldwin Wallace University, and then I became the director of academic support and assistant director of diversity inclusion at a private high school in Cleveland called St. Ignatius Little School, my alma mater. And then did that for 6 years, grew into director roles there, and then just quit one day and put my resume on LinkedIn, boasted my profile that I was open to work on LinkedIn and Indeed. And I got a call from a company that was looking for someone to work with both early career talent as well as springboarding careers. And that's where I sit now, and been able to do some amazing things, receive a promotion, crazy bonuses in a course of about 19 months that I think makes my company seem very, very attractive. And they're not on this call, so don't think that I'm like giving them all this pub. But I absolutely love what I do. My job is to open up spaces for underrepresented persons, as well as early career talent in manufacturing, corporate jobs. And I absolutely love that. Today, I was able to place an immigrant from Mexico who happens to be a female in an engineering role in Pennsylvania, where she will lead in that space. And so, if you think of a culture of disruption and changing the social norms, that's what I get to live on a day-to-day basis, and I absolutely love it. Now, with that in mind, I am a recruiter. Who has a LinkedIn in the room? Hands up.
Put him high.
Okay. If I don't have a connection from you by the end of the night, I'm going to quit my job tomorrow, which means somebody else is not going to get an opportunity. But from a recruiter's perspective, I want to see enthusiasm. I want to see what you know, and I don't want you to add in fluff. And I'll add in that, and I'll just kind of expand on that. So I want to see enthusiasm. Sorry about that. Give me one moment, everybody.
He has kids, for the record. They're young.
Yeah, I've got 4 kids under 10
I got
because
4 of
life's
them.
beautiful. Yeah, I've got a stepson as well. So I
Okay.
give him, yeah, yeah, it's a great life. And everybody wants dessert, and you need the daddy's permission to do so because I'm also the
Yeah.
director of desserts around 1587 Felton. Okay, so with that stated, I want to see enthusiasm. How enthusiastic are you about your field? Have you wrote a post showing your interest or your research or your projects in your work, right? Have you had some type of internship experience showing what your work experiences look like? And it can be a varied things. How many of you all have had an internship in the room to this at this point?
No one.
Really?
Who's done any type of work during a summer, a break, in between classes in the room?
Couple of
Okay,
them.
My young lady in the front, blonde hair, black shirt, can't see your face, don't know your name. Hope you speak loud because I want to talk to you. I don't like the whole talking at folks. I'd rather have a conversation with you. And that's how you'll get me engaged as a recruiter. Have a conversation with me. Don't walk up to my table at a career fair. Don't jump on my screening and then just talk at me. Let's talk and see where my needs match your desires and how we can grow together, as opposed to you telling me what you want to do with your life and I'm just listening and we make no connection there. So if you could get closer to the mic where I might be able to hear you,
You
state
can
your
just talk.
name.
Okay, I'm Cynthia Watson.
Oh,
My
Cynthia. Wait, this is how I literally do my screen.
Oh,
Cynthia,
Sophia. Yeah.
Sophia. Okay, Sophia, I've just had an amazing Sophia for me as an intern. I'm actually about to offer her a full-time role as a data analytics working in our Lorain, Ohio facility. What have you been studying, Sophia?
So I'm trying to get a degree in marketing. I have 3
N-
minors and
You are not trying to get a degree.
okay.
You and people you love are helping you earn your degree in marketing at Marietta College.
Okay.
You see the difference in confidence there and enthusiasm? All right, keep going.
I'm getting minors in entrepreneurship, graphic design, and the last one I'm not sure about yet, but probably something to do with business. So
So, marketing, graphic design, and entrepreneurship.
correct.
That's your Marietta College journey.
Yeah.
What extracurriculars are you involved in?
I'm not really in much. I joined a sorority, so I don't know.
You joined a sorority. What sorority are you in?
Alpha Z Delta.
Oh, you're a fuzzy. I've got a shirt like in the other room, like in my storage that says I love Alpha Z's. Nothing against any other sorority, okay? Nothing. But I really like that about you. And what I want you to know is that right now I am looking for someone to actually intern in my global communications department. The ability to not only have amazing written communication, but also to have experiences in graphic design, as a lot of what we seek to do is a little bit of product mapping so that you can understand. So really we can connect you with our electronic materials division and you can see not only the parts that we are making for electronic vehicle battery, but also go into the LiDAR systems and control systems as we continue to grow in EVs and automation. We want to be able to show that on a diagram without being able to show who our customers are. And so if you might be interested, just knowing on that, I'd love to see if you might be a good fit for the role. And if you'd follow up with me on LinkedIn within the next 24 to 48 hours, I can pretty much guarantee you'll see a hiring manager about that. How does that feel to you, Sophia?
Great.
Thanks for raising your hand and identifying yourself. And so what you did right there, though, is you connected to a very real experience. While we're having this conversation on my other computer, because this is my personal computer, I try not to mix work, state, and church. It's crazy. Um, I have all of my internships up. I have a global communications role that is looking for someone like you. And so if you might be interested in coming to the Cleveland area, getting some internship experience on not just a national level, but a global level, I would really like it to hear from you in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Awesome. I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And you know what? When you follow up with me, it means more than all other 1,200 applicants that I have to my program, right? Not just because you're a member of the Long Blue Line, but you learned about who we were. You then saw where you have a match to a position, and then you move forward. That's enthusiasm about the role, enthusiasm about a company, enthusiasm about an opportunity, right? And so then from there, I want to know what you know. And so we'll save this for when we do our screening before I put you in front of our hiring manager, which I'll just tell you right now is our VP of Global Communications. And then it's also one of our corporate communications specialists who leads a women's focused ERG and wants to see more female leaders within our company. So that's a small tidbit for your interview to come. However, what we're going to do is we're going to talk and we're going to see what you know, right? I may throw things at you, ask you to provide me work samples, but from there, your work is going to carry you to where you go. And so that's your enthusiasm. then that's what you know. You have a Marietta College education, and I will tell every single one of you, my degree is in broadcast journalism. I haven't been behind a camera or in front of a camera since I left Marietta, unless we're doing things like this. So technically, I am on camera every day because I just sit here at home and Teams message out. Um, but your Marietta education is diversified enough to where you can begin to grow in whatever field you want and live your dream. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I started my career there in athletic training. And then somewhere along the line, some things happened, and I knew that I wanted to fight for equity in different spaces. I knew that I wanted to fight for opportunity for marginalized persons, including those that live very much in the Mid Ohio Valley. That's something that I talked to my boss today. I'm currently like going through an audit, and I'm like, we haven't talked about where we've helped that Appalachia population as well. They're like, what do you mean? I had to give a whole lesson on D&I and how it's not just about black and white and gender bounds. But we'll do that at another time. Let me know when you all want to talk D&I 101. But what you know and where you're educated makes a big difference. Most importantly, where you can find a connection with the recruiter, we're going to go harder for you, especially a personal connection. If you were to tell me you were about to be a young parent, it's obviously something I know. If you were to tell me you went to Marietta, I'm super, super excited about it. If you were to tell me you experienced some type of leadership, orientation, tour guiding, that's going to be a personal connection to me. Our jobs are to find connection to people and the opportunities that we have. And so showing us what you know and enthusiasm for what we have to offer makes a very big difference. And then the following thing I said is no fluff. I don't want fluff. When I screen you, I'm going to ask you to tell me about an experience where you stepped out of your comfort zone. If you tell me it was day one stepping on Marietta College's campus, I might hang up on you. I won't hang up on you. I'm not rude. However, that's fluff. Talk to me about something where you really, really challenged yourself. Talk to me about an opportunity where you overcame some extreme adversities. Everybody in that room has a story. You don't have baggage. You don't have a backpack. You have a beautiful story. And if we can help connect your story to an opportunity that's going to match the chapter that you're writing, that's what we want to do. Our job is very plain and simple, to find the best person who fits the culture, the experiences, and the opportunity that we have. I might be running close on time. I see a hand up, Brittany.
Yeah, I just wanted to actually piggyback off of what you said about just what do you know, what have you learned, when have you challenged yourself? Because we all recognize that you're college students, right? You're between the ages of 18 and 21. We recognize that you haven't started a career, you're dabbling in things, you're learning, and that's okay. But just be confident in what you do know, or the challenges that you have faced, or what you have overcome. Because again, we recognize that you're still students, right? You're not 10 years into your career, but we're just trying to identify where your strengths lie, where your passions lie, what interests you as well. So we can help you succeed in your internships. And when you do get placed in your first time full-time job, these things are important. So to Christian's point about the fluff, we can sense the fluff because we recognize you're 20 years old. Like we know you don't know everything. So just be confident in what you do know, and be passionate about the things that interest you, and you will get people's attention.
Yep. That fluff would be anybody telling me in that room that they're an expert on semiconductor education. No, that's being led by Purdue University, Case Western, BW. No, Case Western, Bowling Green, Toledo, and a little bit, not Michigan. Ohio State is getting some of that work right now. I wish Marietta was on that list because I would have so many opportunities for you. My company actually does a large amount of semiconductor work. And so, like, I'm sure someone from Jess's organization and mine are having conversations because we create the source materials. That would be fluff to me. But you saying I'm open and interested in learning about this emerging career field and how I could take my skills in marketing and see how we can make a marriage to not only find more customers for the business, but to further educate the public about semiconductor technology. Come on. So I'm not giving you pointers for when we have our screening within the next week because you reached out to me in the next 24 to 48 hours, Sophia. I'm actually telling everybody else in the room to consider reaching out, sharing their skills, and seeing where I might have an opportunity. But I'm actually one very small company in Ohio. We have maybe 3,500 employees globally, and then we have a campus in Elmore, Ohio, which is northwest Ohio, a little bit south of Toledo. That's about the size of Marietta College, both physically as well as with the persons on that campus. That's the largest we have in Ohio. Our only other facility is in Lorain, and then we have our corporate offices here in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. I say here in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. I live about 7 minutes from our corporate office, and they give me the privilege to work from home. Never say that out loud because I don't want to go to the office. But nonetheless, that's my recruiter's perspective in a nutshell. Be very direct with your skills and what you're seeking in your resume. I actually prefer to see your skills at the top of your resume, then show me your experiences, show me your extracurriculars, and then from there, wrap it up. Your early career, so I don't need to hear about you being diversity educator of the year and so on and so on and so on. Show me that you've been involved, that you can manage having great academic profiles coupled with your ability to balance some extracurriculars. And so if you're not involved in anything and you can't show to that at the moment, that's something I would encourage you to work on. And I think my son's trying to get here in the screening because they're used to jumping in dad's meetings all the time. Hey, baby, you want to go back upstairs?
Wow.
Did he get his dessert?
Yeah, did he get his dessert?
He's got a dessert. You want to say hi? He waved. Oh, you can see him.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 girls upstairs. And this is how I actually get to have my career, which is a complete blessing. So finding the right size of a company for you, right? Maybe at a super large organization, this is not socially acceptable. I've been in meetings with my president, and I mean, we are like a $2.4 billion company, as well as our president of human resources. And this thing happens all the time. And what they say is this shows the culture that we want to have. And so that's another thing about your job search is finding the right style of company for you. Not everything's going to be a match. My alma mater, in terms of my high school alma mater, was not as strong as a job opportunity for me and a match for who I am as a person than my current employer, if that makes sense. But that's a whole nother conversation in terms of really finding what's best for you.
Awesome. All right, does anyone have any questions in the room? Anything specific? All right, so obviously these are great people to connect with, all 3 of them, Brittany, Jessica, and Christian. So I do suggest connecting with them, just seeing what their network can do for you. Christian will hunt you down and demand you to connect.
I think he did that to me today.
Right? Did he?
And just one thing, because Jessica kind of gave her background and Christian gave his background. Just quickly, I work in tech. So if there's anyone interested in tech, I'm in the tech world. I also come from an oil and gas family. So I'm happy to connect some of those Petro folks if you so choose. But please feel free to leverage us. That is what we are here for. We love talking to students and alumni. And yeah, we're just here to help. And sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, Ricky, but I just wanted to kind of give my background quickly.
For sure. Yeah. All right, that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.